Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
Hey guys, I'm Levi Batchelor. I'm an amateur fighting out of Short Mixed Martial Arts in Wales. I've got an amateur record of 10 wins and 1 loss, and I expect to make my professional debut within the coming months. Okay, so growing up, I had a pretty good childhood. I grew up in quite a small town in South Wales. There wasn't really too much going on there, but I'm grateful for where I grew up. Quite a quiet area, very little crime, things like that. Not really too much to worry about. I grew up in a great sort of housing estate. Met my current best friends from today. We grew up together, and you know, I had a great upbringing. I have nothing to complain about. I got into MMA when I was 16 years of age, and prior to that, I didn't really have too much experience in sports in general. I wasn't very big on sports growing up. I was in and out of different classes. You could name a sport, and I had probably taken part in it at some point, but I never really had that click. I stuck at boxing for the longest period. At one point I was really enjoying that, and I thought that was maybe something that I was going to stick at. This was around the age of sort of 8 or 9, and you know, I had a couple of exhibition bouts. I was getting pretty consistent with my training, but it wasn't really something that I ended up wanting to do for myself, so that sort of fell off a little bit, and I sort of didn't really look back into the sporting world right until I was 16. I sort of went through high school as a teenager, doing little bits of maybe football and rugby, but I never really wanted to do anything sort of myself. Maybe that sort of like lazy teenager era, but yeah, I found MMA and I never looked back. I joined Tulare Combat originally, now known as Short Mixed Martial Arts. It was a great gym, but like I said, growing up, I was never really a sporty person, so actually knowing anything about the gym, about the people that train there, anything about the sport in general, to be honest, I was pretty I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. But you know, I'm super grateful that I'm part of the team I am today. Short Mixed Martial Arts there's really something special going on there. We're quite a small team in the big sense of, like, here at Bang Tao, they've got hundreds of people on the mats at the same time every single day. You know, we've got a solid team back home, but it's a much smaller. But our technical ability, and it's proven as well on the biggest stages of MMA and jiu-jitsu, and we've got guys competing at the highest level, and we're performing well. So I'm super grateful to be a part of Short Mixed Martial Arts. So Jack Shaw is the sort of golden boy then of the gym. When I first started, he was the main man, other than Jack Marshman, that was competing in the UFC at the time. And Jack Shaw went on to win a Cage Warriors title, just sort of as I was developing my game, just sort of dipping my toes into MMA and jiu-jitsu, and I was sort of watching these guys. Back at our old gym, we had sort of a small room out the back, which the guys would go in there, they would do their MMA training, and it was just great to watch. Some guys are still competing today, some guys maybe not, and to be honest, I've just seen the hard work that needs to be put in to sort of compete on these big stages. I've seen what it takes to win a Cage Warriors World title. I've seen what it takes to get to the UFC. I've seen what it takes to win in the UFC, and I'm definitely on the right track. I've got the same coaching team behind me. Got 100% faith in those. You know, these guys know what they're doing. I had the honour of going to Vegas and cornering Jack Shaw at one point, and just the experience of seeing the UFC and how it works, and the fight week and the cutting weight and the fight itself, walking out into the Apex arena, and you know, I've seen all of this. Hopefully it's just going to be this sort of destiny that I'd be there for myself at one point, and I'd love to pay it back to Jack and Shaky and sort of take them back to Vegas for me to be competing there. But yeah, it's just honestly short mixed martial arts. There's something special going there, and it's only 20 minutes from home. You know, I've landed on my feet with them. My fighting style is very wrestling, grappling dominated. I started with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've got a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt, and we've got great coaches in grappling. We've got a great wrestling coach in Carl Parker, and that has always been my favourite sort of style. We've got Jack Shaw and Brett Johns using a very similar style in their fights, and they do very well. They do very well with it, and I sort of learn from them every day. They're one of my main training partners, and you know, if I can sort of just take the little 1% from their game and put it into mine, then it's really going to work out well for me. And I think up until now, if you've seen any of my fights, I think I'm always just a little bit step ahead of people when I'm sort of chain wrestling or grappling, and I think that just goes down to the experience and the level of training partners that I've got and I'm with day in, day out in short mixed martial arts. But here I am in Thailand, home of Muay Thai, trying to develop every sort of aspect of my game. I've got great striking coaches at home as well. I've worked for years on my striking. I've got a boxing coach, Muay Thai coach. And I really wanted to be a well-rounded fighter in every sense. Sort of being known as a submission artist is, you know, it's sort of, maybe that would be nice to hear. Am I a submission artist? Yes, I do like to hunt for submissions most of the time. I wouldn't really call myself an artist. There's a lot better guys out there at the moment. Maybe one day I'll sort of be on the same level as some of these guys that are competing in the UFC or Bellator and are sort of at that next level jiu-jitsu game. I've travelled the world training in different jiu-jitsu gyms and MMA gyms, and I've really seen the level of people. The level of grappling out there is phenomenal, and MMA in general, just any sport, you could think you're amazing at something and you could go somewhere and you could be with just a particular individual and just absolutely get your ass handed to you, and you just really see there's a level out there, and I think that just pushes you on, just inspires you to want to be better and reach that level and just learn. Okay, so my first taste of fighting competition was back when I was doing my boxing training around 9 years of age. I had a couple of exhibition bouts, and that was only sort of small sports hall type venues, a couple of family members just swinging from the hip sort of thing, and that was great and whatever. But moving on to my MMA debut, I made my MMA debut on quite a big card, which was probably the biggest card that I've fought on to date, Cage Warriors 108 in Cardiff Viola Arena. That was headlined by Mason Jones and co-mained by my teammate Oban Elliott, with a maximum capacity of 4,000 people for an 18-year-old kid that hadn't even been doing the sport in total for 2 years. That was quite a big moment for me. Had a quick finish, just nice slick submission, and yeah, it couldn't have gone more perfect really. But that sort of just pushed me on then to the moment I'm in today. We hit COVID just after that period. I was gonna sort of keep the ball rolling, just bang out the amateur fights. We hit COVID. I tried to sort of stay as disciplined as I could during that time, and then as soon as we had the green light to start competing again, I was just banging 3-4 fights out a year, and just I'm here where I am today. So I've got a record of 10 wins and 1 defeat. Along that time, I've won numerous titles. I won 2 weight division titles in Cage Warriors Academy Wales. That was at bantamweight and featherweight. I won the bantamweight belt first and then ended up moving up to featherweight. The bantamweight belt was probably my biggest achievement so far. It was the first time sort of fighting for a title. I was very early on in my amateurs. I competed for it when I believe I was 3-0 at the time, against a guy that was good, much older than me, and it gave me a tough test, but it sort of just put me on that path to where I am today. It gave me that sort of taste of success, and really everything that I've been working towards just in that belt, in that moment. It just sort of made everything sweet, and I wanted more. So I obviously stepped up to take the featherweight belt. The first time was the only time that I picked up my first defeat. I lost by decision. I then went away, worked on everything that I needed to work on, adapted my IQ more than anything, and took a fight, won, went back in for the featherweight belt, won it, and I've defended it ever since. I also won the EMMA Four Nations Championship, and that is probably one of the biggest achievements you can get as a British fighter at the moment. It's sort of the IMAF equivalent, run by the English Mixed Martial Arts Association, and although it's quite new, I think it's really going to blow up in the next couple of years. So I think that title of being a Four Nations champion really is going to mean something special. So I picked up my first defeat fighting for the first time for the 2-weight champion, and I lost a decision against a talented fighter, current pro MMA fighter, and to be honest, I'm grateful for it. I'm happy that I lost, picked up one defeat as an amateur. It hasn't happened since, but I think tasting defeat, and especially as an amateur where it doesn't really matter, that is probably going to be one of my biggest developments going into the pro ranks. I've tasted defeat. I've sort of allowed myself to know how to adapt and come back from those situations, and to this day I haven't let it happen since. But I think I really evolved as a fighter, just experiencing those sort of emotions of losing in something that you really want to be successful at. And I think it's a good thing to sort of lose at some point. Everybody's going to lose at some point. There's always somebody better than you, whether that be in competition or just in the mats. It makes you a better person, and yeah, I wouldn't change anything. Having been ranked the #1 featherweight in the UK and Ireland, it's a great achievement for me. It's very nice to know that I'm sort of coming towards the end of my amateur career, being known as the best that the UK has to offer. Yes, I'll look back and I'll be thankful for the sort of success that I had as an amateur. In terms of pressure, there's not really much pressure. I've never really aimed. I've aimed to be #1, but I've never really chased the ranking, the number. I've just ended up sort of where I am because of who I am. I go to the gym. I'm quite a quiet individual. I work hard. If I've got questions, I'll ask them. I try and pick tough rounds, and I just want to be the best that I can, And if being ranked #1 or just having a different statistic or a belt or anything like this, it's nice, but I'm just trying to be the best I can be. Thailand has always been a very interesting place for me to want to visit. I visited for the first time last year, 2023, and Bang Tao was fairly new at that point. I think we really picked up on the gym through like Alex Volkanovski and those type of guys. Also my nutritionist, Jordan Sullivan, the fight dietitian. Obviously he's got a connection with some of the guys, so he sort of recommended coming here, and to be honest, there's no real place that I've seen better in Phuket, and I would imagine Thailand in general is honestly one of the best gyms that I've trained at. And just the constant influx of people just on the mats every single day, and week in, week out, you've got new people coming, people are leaving, you've always got bodies from around the world, meeting lots of different people, or like maybe even future competitors that I may be fighting, and you've got guys that are from different places in Europe, number one in their own respects in their own countries. They've got their own regional titles, and it's nice to sort of test yourself against these guys. And then here I am a year later, I'm here again, same place. The gym has expanded, twice the size. Honestly, it's a fantastic place to be in Phuket. Yeah, definitely recommend Bang Tao. So the next couple of years for me, I want to get my professional debut out of the way, rack up a few wins, try and stay active. I just want to learn as much as possible, be the best I can be. I probably look at going down the Cage Warriors route. That has always been the blueprint for our gym. Sort of rack up wins in Cage Warriors, win a world title, go on to fight for the UFC. That's always been the way that our guys have done it, and it's always worked. You've only got to look at the people that we've got in the gym to know that it's a success. And I think this is the route that I'll likely be taking. Cage Warriors is the biggest European show. They're now expanded into the US as well. So who knows what's going to happen to Cage Warriors, but it's definitely somewhere that I'm looking at being within the next few years and looking to win a world title. Yeah, just want to give a big shout out to all my supporters, sponsors. There's a couple of sponsors there. I won't name them individually because I will end up forgetting some of them. Friends, family, just thank you for the support. My parents, I owe the biggest thanks to. Without them, I wouldn't be here today in Thailand, being able to do what I love, just living the dream, living the lifestyle of a full-time fighter. Yeah, honestly, I've got nothing to complain about, and hopefully one day I'll pay it back with being a very successful fighter and achieving it, winning a world title, and this, that, the other. But yeah, just thank you very much.